Don't forget to click that subscribe and bell icon to receive a notification each time I upload a new video. Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So it's the 16th of December today, Monday the 16th of December, less than 10 days to Christmas. And I've pretty much done my 7 Days of Christmas series for 2019, so that's done and dusted over there somewhere. It's out there in the ether, and I thought today that I would have a play and do something non-Christmassy, because I'm not necessarily Christmased out just yet. There's still a little bit left to go. But what I wanted to do today is just to have a play and do something a little bit different, have a little break away from Christmassy stuff, and use up some of my stash. Now, if you're like me, then over the years since Tim Holtz introduced the world to his little cutout paper dolls, you've probably been collecting them or buying the packets, using your favourite ones, and still got ones left over that you're not all that kind of keen on, or they're a bit too small or whatever. Like me, I buy them whenever I see them either on offer or whatever, or I've been sent packs in Happy Meal and that kind of stuff. So I've got packs like this, I've got Halloween packs, I've got little snippet packs, and I've also got a big tub full of little paper dolls, as well as a few other vintage images that aren't Tim Holtz, but what the heck. So I thought it would be kind of nice to kind of use these little chappies up in a project, a dedicated project, a Tim Holtz paper dolls project, but also do something a bit different, something I've never really done before, and that's actually put them into an altered book. So this is an old book, but it's not really an old book. It's a book that I picked up from a charity store that I intend to alter. So what I will do is I will turn you over to my overhead camera and show you how, first of all, I've prepared my book for altering. So this is the book that I've chosen to alter for a change. So the size of it is, the front cover is about 5 1/4. Ignore the spine, we don't really take that into consideration. And it's around about 9 inches, just under 9 inches. So I would say probably about 8.5 in total in height. So what I've already started to do, because it's going to be a long process to actually get the book ready for altering, is I've already started to go through and remove a load of the pages. So that's what I've removed already, and I've still got just about maybe about 1/3 of the way left to go. And how I've done that is I've left the first few pages, and then every 4 pages into the book I've removed the next 8, as you can see. So I still need to just go in and tidy up some of the bits where I've got a few of the raw edge pages going. So that's pretty much where I've got up to. So this is where I need to start doing the next set. So I'm just carefully, if you like, let me just see if I can sharpen that up a little bit. It might alter the colour a little bit, there you go, as well. It always does for some strange reason. So what I've done is just really, really gently pull the pages out. And like I said, I'm removing 8 out of 12. So every 4 pages I'm taking 8. I'm leaving those bits in. It's not a problem really. Now, one of the things you have to consider to make this easy to do is you don't want a book that's stitched. So this is glued, it's not stitched in, it's not done in signatures. Because if you start doing it in signatures, when you pull one side out, the other half's going to fall out the other side. So you have to be careful when you choose your book that you're going to be doing, or that you want to alter anyway. So that's 5. Okay, so I'm now at the stage where I've removed all of the pages that I want to take out from the book, and so I'm now left with groups of 4 pages right the way through to the end. So the next task, which I've already started, is I'm now taking 2 of those pages out of each group of 4 and getting some glue, and I'm sticking those together as well. So what you're actually left with out of those 4 groups of pages is just 2 pages, because the others will be stuck together. So all I've done is just using a little bit of glue, turn it over, and I'm not going right the way up to the edges either. Because when I roller, the glue is going to come squidging out. But also it gives you that little bit of extra texture on the edge of each of the pages. So what you are left with, those groups of 4 then turn into groups of 2. So just 2 of 2. So I'm just going to very, very quickly work my way through the rest of the book, gluing each double set of those 2 pages together. And then once I've done that, I'll be back. Okay, so it's been a few hours now, so the pages of the book are dry. They've gone a little bit crinkly, which is fine. It just adds to the character of the book of what we're wanting to do. Now, while they were drying, a few of the pages did drop out, which is fine again. I'm actually left, once we've got those 2 out of the way, those 2 beginning pieces, the inside cover sheets, if you like. In this lot here, I've got 20. So I've got 20 stuck together pages, which is going to give me plenty of pages to play with in this altered book. So the next thing that I want to do is I actually want to start decorating the covers. So the first thing I want to do is to tackle the spine. So this was the name of the book, Spencer's List, by somebody called Lisa Evans with 2 S's. So what I've done is I want to cover the spine, but I want to cover it just with black paper. So what I've done is I've got some black, just plain black paper, and I've just stuck my double-sided sheet to it. But what I want to do is I just want to kind of measure to make sure that I'm going to get like an even wrap around on this stuff. So if I just do that by eye, grab a pencil, like so, and it doesn't matter if it's not 100% perfect. And then do the same thing again at the bottom, just wrap it round, do it by eye, and then just mark a little pencil. And then I can just grab a straight edge and then just pretty much just draw kind of a guideline just on that one side. I don't need it to be on both. So when I peel my backing off, trying to get his fingernail underneath. I didn't use cardstock for this is paper. It's just black paper. I could have used 12x12, but I think sometimes it's a little bit too stiff, if you get my meaning. It can be a bit too rigid and unforgiving. So with this, now I've measured it and cut it to the exact height of the book, because I don't need it to go around the inside. So I'm going to stick it straight down, but I'm not going to wrap it round just yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bone folder and just gently rub it till I can start to see where it's starting to drop into that crease, if you like. And then I'm just going to rub it gently with the bone folder, push it really, really gently into that crease. That first crease, you can see it just there, so I'm just going to try and work it in. So like the old saying, slowly, slowly. Patience is a virtue and all that. And then I'm just going to roll it round really, really gently. And then when we get to this side, follow it again. And then just push it, and then just start to load it into that crease gently, so you don't rip or tear your paper. And then when you're happy, then you can just push it down for that final bit. And then you've got your first bit, and if you open it up, you've got your creases in place, which is cool. And then if you want to, you just go back and just, as my friend Sue says, and just commit your creases. Keep going until you're happy. And you can fold your spines back, get your bone folder in. There you go. Okay, so that's the spine dealt with. Happy with that? Just push the top. That one's a little bit battered, which is fine. So I just need to push that. It doesn't matter that I've got a little bit of blue showing there. I can always go around with some ink later on, some permanent ink later on. Okay, so the next step is to take your front cover. Now, I've got some sheets from some old Tim Holtz 12x12 paper stashes. Now, if you've bought Tim Holtz paper stashes in the past, you'll know that eventually the front and the back covers are going to drop off. So I've got no idea what these are called. All I know is I think that one's from the memorandum set. What this one's from, I've no idea. I can't remember the name of it. The front cover has long since gone. So I'm sorry about that. So they're going to be for the inside front covers, and this is going to be for the outer front covers. So what I've done is I've measured from that first bit of crease, which measures about 13 centimetres, and I've just added on another 2 centimetres. For you, if you want to do this, if you're working in an imperial, then whatever the measurement is, just add on another inch or another half inch or another 3/4 of an inch, just so you've got a little bit of an overhang on your page. So if I show you that, you've got a bit at the top and a bit at the bottom. So what I'm going to do, and I've done that for both, so that's going to be probably going to be my back, because that's not quite as decorative, and I want that one to be that's going to be the front, I think. So just make sure I've got the book the right way around. So what I want to do is just grab some PVA glue, and I'm going to just make sure the holes aren't clogged up. There we go. And I'm just going to go around the edge first of all, and then just infill. Now this is going to give me a little bit of wiggle room as well. That should do. And then what I can do is just take the piece of paper, line that up to that edge crease, then make sure I've got a similar border all the way around, and I can just take my brayer, just put a little bit of pressure down on it, and that should grip and hold for that front. And I can just turn that round and then just go over it a little bit heavier. God, my brayer's falling to pieces. Oh, time for a new one maybe. Oh, any excuse to spend money. And I'm going to just leave that for a minute or two, just to dry and set. So once that's dry, I'll be right back. Just give me a chance to have a mouthful of coffee. Okay, so that's had a few minutes in which to set and grab and dry a little bit now. And for the eagle-eyed amongst you, yes, I have swapped out my mat for a self-healing cutting one. So what I'm going to do is just flip that over, just to expose that inner front cover. And then I'm going to just grab a ruler. And what I want to do is I just want to line up my rule, grab a scalpel, and then just run it across those corners. I'm just leaving myself a little bit to play with there. And on this one, I can do it just actually on the paper. That should do. Put those two little pieces into my bin. Make sure I put my scalpel away. It's good use for a champagne cork, isn't it? At least you know you're not going to stab yourself. And then what you can do next is get your glue, and then you can run your glue just on those inside covers. That's it. Up to the corner. It doesn't matter if I get a little bit over. Okay, so what I'll just do with my finger is just smooth that out a bit. Right to that corner, right up to the edge. Grab a wet wipe just to get it off my fingers. Blech. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this edge first, and I'm just going to roll it up and over. Up and over and down. And I'll just take my bone folder, give it a little bit of a push. Now bearing in mind that the paper will be a little bit wet because you've got the glue on it. And then I can just push that corner in there and push that corner in there, and then roll this one over. And that should give us a nice neat corner. Doesn't have to be a perfect mitre. There's a good word for you. And then do the same again. See, this one is a little bit short. That's fine. It means I didn't get them perfect. That's okay. Because we can always disguise that in a little while. Okay, so there is the start of the front cover of the book. So again, I'm just going to leave that for a minute or two, and I'll show you how we're going to deal with this in a second. So let's just leave that for a second or two to dry, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so my covers have had a little bit of time to dry. Now, that corner where I said where it didn't meet, as you can see, I've just stuck a little triangle over the corner. When we add our inside sheet, that's going to go like so, and you're hardly going to even see it. You could further decorate it with one of those brass or copper kind of corners that that you can get as well, which I probably will do with this book. So there's our sheet that's going to go on the inside. So I'm going to flip that over, add some glue. Put a thin bead in, just go up and down. And you can paint your glue on if you want to. It's all down to your own personal style when all's said and done, isn't it? Okay, so I can then lay that down, and it gives me a little bit of wiggle room to be able to position it exactly where I want it. And what I've done is I've kind of lined it up with the edges of the green so that it kind of fits. And I've not grunged anything up with Distress ink either, have you noticed? Because that's going to come later. And then I can just run my brayer. You don't have to use a brayer to do this. You can just, smooth it with your fingers. Just make sure you don't use a wet cloth or anything like that. And then I'm going to leave that to dry. And when that's done, I'm just going to repeat the process on the back, leaving these green sheets. But I'm going to repeat the process for the back cover. So rather than bore you with showing you the same process again, I'm just going to go ahead and do it when this is dry. And then when it's all done, I'll be right back. Okay, so front cover, front inside cover, back cover, back inside cover. So I need to leave these for a good hour or so to dry out before I start adding any Distress ink or anything to it. So the old book now looks like so.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening everyone.
Hello.
Very nice.
That was the blue book.
Really?
Yeah. Do you remember?
Yes, I do remember.
So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I need to learn what month is what, because I kept October instead of August in my account, so I'm going back through.
Whoops.
I think I need the Sesame Street.
Sesame...
It's October.
Sesame Street calendar.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to leave this for an hour, so I'm going to come down. Is it lunchtime yet?
It is lunchtime, love, yes.
Right, there you go. Perfect break time. So I'm going to be back in an hour after I've had my lunch, but for you, it's only going to be, a few seconds. Okay, so it's dry enough for me to be able to work on it. So I've gone into my paper dolls collection and also my bits of ephemera, and I've just grabbed a few bits out and just auditioned them on the page as to where I think they're going to go. None of these are actually stuck down just yet. So that isn't stuck down, he's not stuck down, they're not stuck down, and neither are any of those. Those are actually part of the pattern of the paper. So, yeah, I know. It's great, isn't it? So what I want to do is just, before I do anything at all, is the reason I put them down is so I know exactly where I want to stick them. So he's going to go on that space bar kind of line there. And I want to add, come on, lift up. I want to add that stamp just behind him. Just like that. So, obviously that needs to go down first. So this is a real stamp. It's not a piece of ephemera, it is actually, well, it is a piece of ephemera, but it's a real stamp. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. And just drop that down. Still got a little bit of wiggle room. So position that just about there. Happy with that. So he can now get glued down. But before I do that, I just want to go around the edges of him. Just to kind of get rid of those white lines. My vintage photo distress marker has dried up, or I've used it up, so I'm having to fiddle a little with this. I don't want to use black, so, but that will do, I think. So again, just get a little bit of glue. And of course, I haven't distressed the edges or anything on this yet because I want to do that a little bit later. So let's just sit him about there. Okay, now then, whoops. The next piece is the chappie here, the young chappie. So I want that just behind his head about there. So it looks like he's just resting on the edge of that. So again, I'll just quickly run around him. Be easier if actually I had it close to hand, wouldn't it, rather than reaching across my desk. Quickly look on the back to see if I've actually missed anywhere. If there's a little brown halo all the way around, then we know we've got everywhere. Okay, so just quickly flick all the way around on that. Glue. About there, I think, and then I can just tuck it under his head like that, and then we can add the glue behind him. I think when you get to do a project like this, the actual placing of your characters and your items is probably the most fun bit to do. Yeah, about there. Right. Okay, now, obviously, doggy. We like the doggy. Looks a little bit like Bentley, but it's a bit smaller. Not quite so leggy. Mr. Bentley's a lot leggier than this, but he's got the patch over the eye, so it reminds me of him. So we'll just put him about there. Just on that same kind of level. Okay, so the airmail, the obligatory airmail and special delivery, because no project looks complete unless you've got an airmail or a special delivery on it. Stick that up there. So the good thing about this kind of ephemera and these kind of papers is that it all, like these pieces here, look like they're stuck on, but they're not. So they're a really good way of adding, you know, bits on. Right, so we have like a cigarette card, Dicky Bird. I do like to include a little bit of what I call like natural kind of history stuff in there, so a little bit of botanic, flora and fauna kind of pieces. Being a nature and animal lover. So I'll stick that down about there. And then I've got this little special delivery which we'll just add on. Just hoping I've got all these bits in on camera. Now the way that I'm placing these, now you can see obviously I'm keeping it straight, but I'm crossing over the lines. I'm not making sure that I've actually got some intersection pieces, and when I'm adding that special delivery I made sure that black line comes in at the side rather than lined up with it. I want it to intersect. It just creates a little bit more of interest if you can see pieces that kind of like look as though they're interacting rather than just plonked. And that's a really good English word, plonked. It means just randomly placed. Instead of thought about and placed. Plonked is just, you know, no thought being given to it at all, it's just been dropped. And then that corner, to where those corners intersect, add another little piece there. So I've got some more pieces here. There's a Baltimore and Ohio Railway piece which could go like that, but no, I think actually less is more in a case like this. So I just want to make sure I've got a little bit more glue underneath that edge. That just seems to be curling up a little bit. And the PVA, like I said, dries clear, so it's fine. So I actually quite like that. I'm not too keen on the shine, but I can get rid of that. That's not a problem. But I think, as far as this is concerned, for the front, I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to leave those for a minute or two to dry before I start coming in and adding in anything else. Okay, so they're pretty much dry now. So on the inside, using archival distressing vintage photo, I have just gone around and grunged those corners and the edges. You can see that's the one where it didn't quite meet, but you can definitely not really see anymore. So I've added in some distressing along the bottom, around the edge. Now what I want to do is just quickly, bring the idea of this ephemera from the outside just onto the inside. We've already got our vintage characters on both the front and the inner, but I don't want to overdo it with more ephemera on the inside. So remember that Baltimore and Ohio Railroad piece, and then I also have this bit here that says Herald Square loose leaf patches, Woolworth Co. So what I want to do is just add these two pieces, not to this, but to this sheet here. So I'm going to add that Baltimore and Ohio oh, come on glue, don't fail me now, there we go. So that Baltimore and Ohio stub, and I'm going to put it just here on the bottom right hand corner. Now I have already gone around the edges with the distressing, and I'm using the archival, the permanent, and then I've done the same thing with this one as well, so I've added a little bit of grunge onto that one, even more so than the vintage piece. Just to add glue on there, that'll do. Then I'm going to add that just at the bottom where these chappies are, intersecting. So I'm not covering up any faces, just a few little bits of the body, and that's it. And for now, that's all I'm going to add on there. I'm not going to add anything on here just yet, because that's for another day. So while that's drying, I can now come in with my distressing and just start grunging up those edges. I'm just lightly going over around the edges, bringing it in and building up a little bit of that grunge, just to kind of make it look as though it's been well handled. I'm not pressing hard, I'm just rubbing lightly. But because I've already done the inside, it doesn't matter whether it goes over. This is just predominantly for the outer. I'm just going in circular motions. Just building up the colour and the age. And I just rub a little bit over, just turning it as I'm going. So all my characters kind of sitting nicely. Just a little bit more grunge around there. It's looking good. Well, even if I do say so myself. Just blend it all in. And then if you want to, you could start adding in a little bit of colour by introducing some other colours into there. We've got reds in there. There's no blue really apart from in there and the dark blue in that. So if you wanted to, you could actually grab a stencil. Doesn't really make any difference which one. As long as you've got a little bit. What have we got here? Chicken wire reverse. This is just a pile of stencils that I haven't bothered to put away just yet. So what have we got? Let's have a look. Faded jeans. There we go. Let's just grab faded jeans. Just see if I've got a sponge that I haven't used yet. There we go. I've forgotten where I kept all my new sponges. So open that up. Just load up. So down here, if you want, you can just start adding in maybe just a little bit extra of that colour. It just kind of helps to break it up. So you've just got some extra bits. I'm just lightly going through. It just helps to kind of break it up a little bit. Yeah. So you've got the blue there, you've got the blue in that, so now you've got some little bits of blue coming through in the background, maybe just a little bit intersecting with that red. Perfect. Well, subjective really, isn't it? But I kind of like that. But what I need to do is I just want to get rid of the shine on this. So to do that, I just need to give it a coat of clear gesso, which is matte. But because I've used archival inks, none of those inks or the colours will react with the gesso. So they will stay put. They're not going to run or move anywhere. But I don't really need to do anything on the inside. I mean, I could bring that stencil back in and just add a little bit of that just to kind of bring the outside in. But to be honest, don't really need it, do you? You know, just ties it all together. Actually, I think I'll just put a little bit just down at the bottom over that corner where the bird is. There we go. That's more like it. Okay, so next step, clear gesso. Okay, so clear gesso. This is Art Basics from Prima Marketing, part of the Finnabar range, or Finnabar range. And I'm just going to do a little, very thin layer, just actually over the top and all it's going to do is just give it a little bit of a matte coat and seal, but also it will stop those paper dolls from shining too much. It will dull them down. I'm just going to go over everything. Try not to get it too thick. Go over the doggy. Just a thin layer. Of course, when I've dried it and you can still see patches of shininess showing through, that's okay, because we'll just nip back in and just add a little bit more if we need to. Okay, I'll just quickly dry that off. Okay, so let's have a look underneath our lights. Okay, can you just see there's not very much shine left on the chappie. Our young man there's a little bit left, and there's virtually none on the dog. So I just need to go over one more time. Just for good measure.
I've only just noticed the dog.
Yeah. He's a cutie.
Looks
And
like
I've got
Puppy.
does look like Puppy, you're right. That's why I put him on. I'm just saying Mr. Puppy's got longer legs, but
Yeah.
it still reminds me because of the patch
Over his eye.
over his eye, so that's why I like to add him on. It's like a little bit of a remembery thing.
Can't forget him.
I take it, is he gone back to bed?
He has. He's not very well today.
No, he isn't very well today. He's got a poorly tummy.
Don't know why. He's not
No,
eating
he
anything.
hasn't eaten anything. That's the thing. Okay, let's just dry that off quick. Okay, so back under the light. Can we see any shine? No. There's none whatsoever. Look at that. So it's as matte as it's going to get, which is absolutely perfect. So I'm happy with the front cover. I'm kind of happy with the inside cover. So all I have to do now is just to finish off the back. But I think I'll do that at another day. The back's not that important, so maybe just get one or two pieces stuck on there and then grunged up like we did with the front. But I'm pretty happy that I'm actually ready to be able to start creating some art journal pages using up those paper dolls on these pages here. But like I said, that'll be for another day. So that's all from me for now. I hope you've enjoyed watching me create this altered book. If you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me. I'll see you all again very soon. Bye for now.
I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.